Hi, everybody. This is Deanna Kosaraju with Global Tech Women. Thanks so much for joining us here at Voices 2015. This is version 3.0 of our annual conference celebrating women in technology around the world, the week of International Women's Day. This session is on empowering middle school girls to change the world using computer science and technology. And I have two resident experts with me who are going to talk about groups that they formed in their own schools and in their own communities to bridge the gap for middle school girls in the areas of computer science and technology. And they're going to talk to us about how they did that and give us some best practices and advice for how we can start our own groups. So I would like to introduce Shreya Shankar, who is with ProjectCSGIRLS, and also Pooja Chandrashekar, who's with ProjectCSGIRLS. And so I'm going to ask them a series of questions. And if you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat window over on the right-hand side, and we'll get those questions addressed. So Shreya, why don't you go ahead and go first and tell us about Camp Sci Girl.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so you want to know what got me started in technology. All right.
Sure. Why don't we start with that?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't hear that question. So I actually liked building websites, to say, in middle school. In sixth grade, I made my first Google site. Obviously, it wasn't a real computer science-based site, but I sat there and I tried to navigate how to, I don't know, add buttons here and how to link to other sort of websites. I linked my website to the top 10 songs on iTunes. And that's when I found that it was a great outlet for my creativity. By making these websites, I could express my interest in design. I could express my interest in maybe making a small algorithm to use, or just in general. It was so much better for me than pursuing the mundane classes in middle school. I didn't have to, I don't know, add things in pre-algebra, or I didn't have to go do PE stuff. I just went to the library and I sat there and I made my own websites, and I found that I really, really enjoyed it. Then I took my first computer science class in high school in 10th grade, my first actual computer science class. I took AP Computer Science. And although I was the only girl in that class of 9 boys, I still found it to be a very thrilling experience because it was unlike any of the other classes I'd taken in school. In most of my classes that I've taken so far, I've had to listen to a teacher tell me what she's going to have on a test, and the test would contain the same problems with maybe different numbers. And to me, I really couldn't challenge myself or be creative in any way. With computer science, my teacher would just give us a problem, and there would be 100 different ways to solve that problem, and I felt so free, and that's really why I chose to pursue computer science.
So Pooja, could you answer the same question?
Yeah, sure. So,
What got you started in technology?
yeah, sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Pooja Chandrashekar. I'm currently a senior at Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology in Virginia. And I had a pretty early introduction to technology. So I went to a middle school that actually had mandatory computer science classes. So I was pretty lucky. And so that was what first got me introduced to technology. So like Shreya, I also started out with HTML and logo, and then robot C as the years progressed. So I got a pretty early introduction to robotics and programming and web design, and animation, to name a few. And then I really expanded on that interest throughout my summers in middle school as well. So I realized that I really loved programming and working with different computer science topics and applications. And so I really enrolled in summer camps and summer activities that would foster my interests. So I remember I was doing game programming with BASIC 1 year, and then I was doing web design, then I was building robots another. So that was during my middle school years, and I thought that was really crucial to increasing my interest during that time. And then coming into high school, I was pretty well prepared, I suppose, than some of my other peers who didn't have the chance to go to a middle school that had CS classes like mine did. So I took AP Computer Science my freshman year of high school, and that was when I first realized how big of a problem the gender gap really was. Because I walked into my APCS class on my very first day of high school, and I looked around the class, and it was a class of around 30 students, and I was one of 3 girls in the class. And that was a pretty big shock to me because in a school that's as science and tech focused as mine, that was really disturbing and shocking to me because there weren't the same problem wasn't seen in some of my other STEM classes. So I was really surprised that it was this big of a problem at my high school as well. But I did keep persevering. I didn't really let it faze me because I'd had that early introduction to CS, as I said before, and that really helped me gain my footing and realize that I was good at it, so I didn't need to feel the pressure that other girls might feel coming into experiencing that problem in an introductory computer science class. So I worked at a company for the past 2 years at the MITRE Corporation, doing research, and that also helped me increase my interest in technology. And I also continued taking more advanced computer science classes at my high school, like artificial intelligence and parallel computing. So that was my introduction to technology.
So Shreya, can you tell us when did you first realize how big the gender gap in technology was? When did you first see it?
Okay. Well, for me, I mentioned that I took my first computer science class in my sophomore year, and I was the only girl of 9 boys. And all these boys were junior and senior boys, and all they did were play games. They played a different game every week, and some were obsessed with like Halo, and here I was never a big video game person. So when I first started taking programming 1, I kind of felt lost in that class. I felt like I had no friends in that class because everyone was either making their own game or gaming or just chatting in general. And I was sitting here and trying to catch up with them because they were so much better at programming than I was. That's when I really noticed that there should be more females in computing. And whenever I asked my female friends to sign up for programming, they responded with like, "Oh, really? Why? Like, I'd rather take art, or I'm fine taking drama or theater or another math or science class." So whenever I searched up gender gap in technology, actually, I noticed that it wasn't just a problem in my school, it was a global problem. The National Center for Women in Technology says that about 12% of computer science undergraduate degrees are awarded to women. And when I found the women in this group, there's a big group of women in the National Center for Women in Technology, I realized I wasn't alone, and that's where I made friends, and that's where I decided that, hey, computer science is my passion, and I have friends in it, so I might as well go for it.
So we have a question from Diane. Do you find that approaching programming problems, do you find that you approach them differently than with your male counterparts in class?
So I don't know exactly if I approach a problem differently than a male counterpart in my class, but I think that definitely men and women do approach problems in general differently, just thinking from a neurological standpoint as well. And I think that's why it's so important to have a product design team or a development team that's made up of both men and women, so you have both of those different perspectives and ideas, and you really get that kind of creativity that results from both genders working together.
Yeah,
Excellent.
in my class, when we did group programming projects, I found that we all approached problems in generally the same way. There's nothing distinguishing me from guys, even though we bring different perspectives to the table. Like, there are 10 different ways to solve a problem. In the end, almost every good idea is as good as every other idea. So I I didn't feel like I was the odd one out, other than the fact that I physically was the odd one out. Mentally, I still felt like I could work with them.
Okay, and we should let you know as well that Shreya is actually streaming from her school library, so that's why we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. But just so that you know, it's not on your end. We know that it's on our end, but we just definitely wanted to press on because we feel like this session is really important. So if you can bear with us, we would appreciate that. So both of you have started these great groups, and we'll go into that. But can you tell us why you chose to focus on middle school versus high school?
Yeah, sure. So
Pooja, you want to go
yeah.
first?
So for me, like I said, middle school was a crucial time to jump into programming and really get that footing for myself. And I found that middle school is really a time when students are most susceptible to peer stereotypes and peer pressure. So a lot of times, girls in middle school have this perception of a computer scientist as male, being white, and sitting, kind of being like this nerdy person who sits alone in a dark basement and codes away at his computer. And I've heard this from many middle school girls, and it's really sad. Sometimes even high school girls have this perception. But during middle school, it's really that critical learning and development period. Even if you look at it from psychology research, also shows this. So during that time is when we really need to teach girls that computer science is definitely for them. That's why we also need to teach them the fundamentals of technology and show them how applicable it is, and really encourage them to reach their potential in the field. So that's why I chose to focus on middle school.
Okay,
Yeah,
Shreya,
so
would you like to add?
sure. I feel the same way as Pooja actually. When I did a survey in my middle school or in several middle schools, I found that about 50% of the girls thought that STEM careers are just for boys. And that's what I realized, that the stereotypes form in middle school, that girls think that computer science is for boys and boys think that computer science isn't for girls or something. And really the concept of the stereotype really hits the middle school girls, because middle school girls are really trying to find their place in middle school and high school, to find what they want to do, to find who their friends are. And with a stereotype trying to take them away from something, that's why the drop off in math and science and technology exists.
So Shreya, do you want to talk a little bit about Campsite Girls and why that's addressing that need with middle school girls?
Yeah, so Camp Sci Girl is a free virtual computer science summer camp for middle school girls. It's virtual, so it could be accessed from anywhere. I live in a small town in Texas, and I couldn't be impacting so many people if I just had Camp Sci Girl locally. So we pair about 3 to 5 middle school girls with a high school or college female mentor. And what really makes Camp Sci Girl unique is that since it's virtual, girls can make friends with other girls from across the country. And this whole mentorship aspect, the fact that a girl just a bit older than the middle school girl is teaching her computer science and showing her that computer science isn't just for boys, really makes an impact on her students.
So Pooja, would you like to answer the same question? We're very interested in your program as well.
Yeah, sure. So I'm the founder and CEO of ProjectCSGIRLS. So www.projectcsgirls.com if you want to check it out. So Project CS Girls is basically a national nonprofit working to close the tech gender gap by running a national computer science competition for middle school girls and also hosting workshops around the country. So what this is that so I started the program when I was a sophomore in high school, so almost 3 years ago. And then last year we hosted our first inaugural competition, and it was regional, so it was only for girls in Virginia, Maryland, and DC. So the challenge that we gave them was come up with an idea using technology and computer science to solve a social problem that falls under one of 3 themes. So global health, a safer world, and intelligent technology. And then the projects we saw were amazing. We reached over 100 girls just regionally through 3 states last year, and it was a fantastic experience. So I decided to bring the program to a national scale this year. We're happy to say that we were able to reach over 500 girls this year through the competition, and over 500 through our regional computer science workshops, which are hosted around the country by members of our executive and outreach team. So I have a team of around 50 high school and college students who work with me, and they live across the country, and they do outreach in their states for the competition, encouraging middle school girls to participate. And they also host these very open-ended CS workshops. So to give you an idea of what happens in these workshops, we basically introduce the girls to different computer science applications, and then we tell them to come up with ideas for projects they can work on that would solve a social issue using the concepts we just discussed. And they can work together and build projects for the competition as well. And so we also have a mentorship program in place, and like Shreya said, mentorship is very important to us as well. So our participants can request a mentor who is either a technical professional or a college student majoring in an engineering discipline, and then they can work with them virtually through Skype or video conferencing or anything. And we also just launched a few months ago an international competition for students residing outside of the continental United States. Because we had a lot of interest from computer science teachers in a lot of countries abroad. So we wanted to bring ProjectCSGIRLS to them as well. And then probably the centerpiece of our program is our National Gala event. So we invite our winners of our U.S. competition to DC. I live near DC. To DC in June, so our gala is coming up, and our winners will get to tour companies, listen to guest speakers, participate in workshops, and really take part in a very wonderful event to celebrate their accomplishments and recognize them.
So Shreya, can you tell us what are your goals going forward? You've started this online science camp for middle school girls. Where do you see this going in the next 5 years?
Yeah, so last summer in 2014, we ran our pilot program. We had about 60 middle school girls sign up, and we had over, I think, 20 high school and college girls willing to mentor. So that was awesome. We ran two-week sessions, and we met 3 times a week, basically through Google Hangouts. And the girls learned Python, HTML, MIT App Inventor, Scratch, and they ended up creating a sort of game at the end of the program. This summer, we currently have 180 girls signed up on our website, and we're hoping to reach about at least 300 girls this summer. In the future, we'd like to scale to about more than 500 next summer, and then just keep growing as we go. And if we can get, let's say, 500 girls next summer, then we'd like to have a sort of after-school program to keep the mentorship sort of thing going, and to give our students something to do after the summer. They have this knowledge, and they can basically build an app to solve a problem in their community, or they can meet other girls around the world who share their interest for computer science and build something together, create something, build software, apps, I don't know, you name it. There are so many applications for computer science.
And what about you, Pooja?
Yeah, so
Where do you see your organization going?
yeah, so like I said, we were able to reach around 1,000 girls through this year's U.S. competition, and we're still waiting to see how many will reach to our pilot international competition. So like Shreya said, I also hope to keep scaling up in the next few years. So hopefully we'll reach maybe 5,000 next year, and then we also hope to expand to a completely global competition, so that we can. The reason why we kept it to the continental U.S. is that because we didn't have funding to fly the winners from overseas to DC. So hopefully we'll get enough corporate sponsorship in the coming years to be able to do that. And me and Shreya were actually talking when we first met, like if we could work out something between Camp SciGirl and ProjectCSGIRLS. Like she said, her girls have all this knowledge after the summer camp. So it'd be cool if they could also work on projects for the Project CS Girls competition as well afterwards.
Well, and what you just said leads to my next question, which is a lot of people will be watching this recording, a lot of women in technology around the world. How can they help you? I mean, what are some of the things that you need that you can ask for right now, and people will listen to it?
I think the biggest thing for both of us is we have a huge passion for computer science. We have a huge passion for closing the gender gap. So we need more middle school girls, I guess, to sign up because there's almost every high school and college female computer science major or computer science enthusiast wants to get more females in computer science. But in order to do that, we have to find middle school girls to interest. And we need as much help as possible in recruiting more middle school girls. That's for Camp Girl at least. Pooja?
Yeah, so I feel the same way. Definitely, if you can help us to reach more girls, and if you, for us as well, since our mentorship program also works with technical professionals or college students majoring in engineering, we would love for you to sign up as a mentor or judge our competition.
Yeah.
You can find that. I can type the link in the chat box too for that. For us, we also, if you work at a company that would be interested in sponsoring our competition this year or for next year, please reach out to us. For right now, we're seeking corporate sponsors for our national gala in June. So if your company is interested, please reach out to me.
Okay, last question. So if there's a girl who's watching this right now and is thinking about starting her own group in her own local area, what advice would you give her?
Definitely to start it. And there are so many, let's say, organizations and I guess technical companies, or I know the National Center for Women in Technology frequently has like 5 or 4, I think, rounds where they fund any middle school outreach program. I feel like it was the best decision of my life to start Camp Girl because I've been able to reach out to so many kids, and really, there's nothing wrong with starting a camp for middle school girls. Pooja, what do you think?
Yeah, so I feel the same way. I mean, ProjectCSGIRLS has been an incredible experience for me, at least. I've had the chance to speak at international conferences. I've had the chance to go to the White House. I mean, it's just been a fantastic journey for me. I mean, I started ProjectCSGIRLS with no experience with founding an organization or anything. So I had to start from scratch. I had to learn all the different basics. That was kind of a learning curve, but if you have the passion and the drive, you can definitely make change happen. If you can just go out there and people will be willing to help you, and I found that a lot for the past few years. If you're asking just about how to, what was your question again? Like how to get into technology?
No, my question was if there's a girl who's watching this and is thinking about starting her own group,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What advice would you give her?
Yeah, so I think what I said just works there then.
Yeah, I think you answered it.
Yeah.
And I would also add, don't wait. Start now. Don't think, oh, I'll do it after this semester or this summer. Start a little bit every day and pool resources and find people in your community locally and globally who are willing to help you. And the 3 of us obviously are here to help you. So if you're hearing this and you're thinking about it, reach out to us and we'll help connect you to other people who also are willing to help. Don't try to do this all by yourself because there's plenty of people out there who are willing to step up and make it happen with you. So that would be my advice as well. So does anybody here in the audience have any further questions? Okay, closing remarks. Shreya, do you want to say anything? Any last words of wisdom?
Well, it was a great experience actually talking here. And if there are any high school or middle school girls here, high school girls, feel free to sign up as a mentor for Camp Girl. Middle school girls, please sign up for Camp Girl. Share it with your friends. And like I said, computer science has really changed my life so much. And you don't have to do computer science because you think it's just for boys. Really, there's a huge network of women in computer science. It's right there, and we're here to help you.
Yeah, definitely.
Pooja?
If you're ever wondering whether or not a community of high school girls exists in technology, just check out the National Center for Women in Information Technology. I think Shreya, you're also a part of it. But yeah, it's just a fantastic. I mean, I'm amazed every day still by the number of women that are interested in working together through NCWIT. And we just help each other and just share resources, and it's just a fantastic community. I mean, computer science is quickly becoming the field of the future. Every field requires CS nowadays, and so just don't be afraid to step into it, and don't let any statistics or stereotypes deter you from pursuing your dreams or achieving your goals. I mean, it's been a fantastic experience, like Shreya said, speaking here. And yeah, just thank you so much for having me. And if you have any questions, you can just email me at pooja@projectcsgirls.com. It's in the chat box too.
Yeah, if you
That's great.
if you have
And
any
this
questions for
announcement,
me.
sorry.
Sorry,
Sorry,
oh,
go ahead, Shreya, sorry.
Shreya at campsidegirl.org is my email. I put it in the chat box, so if you have any questions, yeah, I will respond to your email. And yeah, thank you so much for having us today, Deanna. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dan.
Sure. And the National Center for Women in Technology is a U.S.-based organization. They're based out of Colorado. If you're beyond the United States, I would highly also recommend that you join Global Tech Women. And there's a number of groups internationally that we can connect you with as well. So with that, I think we're going to go ahead and close out for this session. It's been a great talk. I've learned a lot, and it's great connecting with both of you. You're so inspiring, and I'm sure that you're going to motivate lots of other girls to think about building things like this in their own communities, and I'm sure they're going to connect with you because you're leading the way. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap for now. I hope to see you in half an hour, where our next session is going to be on how you measure impact. And it's going to be a great talk that's live at Santa Clara University. So I hope to see you in half an hour. Thanks, everybody.